So I know what you're thinking. Say, Mike, you're using your tiny channel as an excuse to go to beaches and theme parks all the time. And you know, that's just crazy and absurd, but it's true. I love the beach. And I love theme parks. Just hanging out today with Jim, and I'm gonna learn some stuff from the beach wizard. As a general rule, if someone asks you to jump in their white van, you don't do it. So this is like the border of Madeira Beach.
These houses are on Madeira Beach.
Pulling on Madeira Beach, and we think this is the border.
Towards Tampa. If there was a bridge here, we could go to Tampa, but there ain't.
Yeah, we're pointed east right now.
Look at this new house. It looks like a hotel.
That's one unit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do they do with this bottom floor? They can't have anything like...
No, they can't. It's a garage.
Okay, garage.
Until they cheat on it and add some shit.
So I have a question that a lot of people probably, you know, if we drive around here enough, you'll basically pick up on it.
So I came here. This is water over here. This is not water here. And I said, oh, look, there's a for sale sign. So I took this and I wrote Investus Realty, never heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
How did they get this listing when my company's been around and is so good and all that? Oh, and it's this house here. Oh, what they do with it? Well, they fixed up the yard and all that stuff. But when we get a high tide, it's still going to flood.
Yeah, that's my question.
If they want to fix it up, which they did, FEMA probably said that house is worth $90,000, which means you can only put $45,000 into fixing it. So they don't get permits and they fix it up by themselves, and then a flood comes, wipes it out, and then the person that buys it has to tear it down and build a new house. So.
It was something that I've noticed on a lot of listing photos for houses for sale. If you look at the bottom of the house, you could see the water. Where the water came up, and I don't know if we could see it on this house.
It looks just like a boat, right? What happens when the boat is
and I see it's where it's
seaweed.
been. You see where it's been painted,
Mm-hmm.
and then, you know, that's something. So that's a big question that people will, you know, they're wondering, why is there a massive house like this next to a tiny house like that?
Because they don't want to follow the rules, and they think they can get away with things. And from real estate brokers, I don't know whether the broker disclosed to this person that they could do other things with that thing, which you're going to see in a couple of blocks that someone's doing to mitigate the problem of this one flooding out or blown away in a storm, where they could use the value of that house to get a mortgage to build a brand new house that now would be worth $1.2 million rather than the $600,000 or whatever that they're trying to sell this for.
Right. Well,
and someone's going to buy it because I don't know why.
so say I bought this house right here and I wanted to fix it up or add a room. Could I add a couple rooms to a house, the small house like this?
No, because you go to FEMA and you say, FEMA, how much is this house worth? And they come out and say $89,000. And the rules say, okay, if you want to fix it up the way it is, you can only do 50% of the FEMA value, which is $40,000. Well, you can't put a new kitchen in.
You can't do really anything with that. No.
So, but people do it.
Right. So you'd have to be breaking the rules in order to do it. And then if a hurricane comes in like we talked about and floods it, you can't claim it on your insurance because you weren't supposed to do it.
So we've been driving for a minute and a half, and we found 2 listings already. And I don't recognize any of the agents, and I've been in the real estate industry 50 years, and I should know all the agents. But
so you don't think they live here?
Oh, I know they live here.
Okay. Cool. So you're saying if I bought this house, that's the house I get?
That's the house you get.
That's the house I get. Okay. So that's good to know. If you buy one of these one-story houses, you know, you want to add a bedroom, just keep that in mind. You know, you know, you learn stuff every day.
Yeah, the next thing on that list is this piece right here, which is four rental units. And a friend of mine lived in one for like 15 years and he just got kicked out because they raised his rent. And now they're doing VRBO nightly rentals here. And I haven't checked yet, but I don't think they're allowed in Madeira Beach. So what they're doing is renovating this and trying to rent it out illegally, which when the city decides to make a move, the guy that owns this is going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
But the city may not make a move, just like the people that are selling their houses and not doing anything to fix them up. So you got a time bomb here.
Yeah.
And we've just been through 2 blocks of Madeira Beach.
And we already learned that, hey, you can't renovate your house if it's 1 story more than about $40,000 because it has to be the value of your home. And then you have to lift it up on stilts because we've witnessed storms come in here and literally flood everything up to about 2.5 feet. So anything that's on the first floor, you have to assume that when one storm comes in, it's you know, it could potentially ruin everything.
So now we're coming into this, which is Harbor Drive, and on both sides, these houses are all on the water. And if you notice this one on the left, it's worse than the last 2 we saw.
Right.
But the land is worth twice as much underneath. So the fact that they're selling this one with the land worth so much money, where they could probably get a mortgage to build a brand new house up there that would sell for $1.2 million, $1.3 million, they're nuts to do that, in my opinion.
Right.
Right? Now, or they could take this house and do something with it to change the elevation of the house. So ironically, as we're driving, taking this long tour, I come out with this house right here, which is directly across the street. And you notice this brochure 2 days ago was in that little box right there.
Yeah.
And it was filled with this brochure. If you look at that little box right now, in 2 days, people took those things out. Probably 30 of them out of this thing.
So it's safe to say people are super interested in this. Wow.
So look at what this guy is doing with this house. Not particularly this house, but what he's done for many years with other houses.
He's rolling it in from somewhere. Where is it rolling in from? Look, it's on a roller.
No, well, that's if they're going to build new ones and put them on pilings like I showed you.
Gotcha.
The house. But then if we look at what they're doing now, they're going to take this house, they're going to put those blocks there and pilings, and then they're going to come and jack this house up to make it look like that.
So that way when it comes in floods, it's not up in your kitchen. And
or even they're going to boat in on a trailer a new house.
See, look, you didn't know what your options were until now.
Yeah, and this worldwide tour has been 8 minutes so far.
I've been here my whole life, you know, and I've already learned a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't know. So I'm already happy about it.
All right, so where's that little sheet?
Where's the little sheet? Right here.
Now we're going to take a long trip to find out if anybody else would want to sell a house around here.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to go way long way.
Oh,
look,
so
right
just
here on the right.
And then Jim, would you just point out where we are on the map just to give everybody like a reference?
We're going down this thing right here.
Okay.
Water on each side, very desirable lots, and but almost all the houses, except for this one over here, which is going to be about $2.5 million when it's built.
Wow.
Is right next to this house. It's going to be 800,000.
And that's
this one's going to flood. This one's going to flood.
That one's not. And that's the contrast that we're seeing is these $1 million homes next to these other $1 million homes But there are these one-story houses that get flooded all the time. That's contrast right there.
So these millionaires, this guy isn't too rich.
Yeah.
But this guy over on the right is a little richer. Look how big and how high his house is.
Oh, wow.
All right, and then let's see. Oh, then the guy next door here. Where's all the little houses? They've all changed to big houses. These are all multi-million-dollar houses in a shit neighborhood.
Wow. So these one stories are disappearing, and then they're giving way to these.
Here's one. Okay.
Look at that. Look at the contrast between the two. This is more of a contrast of my tan line.
I don't have to do anything because I can go up and hide when my living room, kitchen, and everything else floods. I can be up on that second floor, so I'm better than other people.
So he's at least got a little escape. You know, this one-story house. Where is he gonna go? He'll go to his neighbor's house. Right there.
Well, look at this guy who wants to be better than everybody else. Look at that house.
Oh, wow. I'll take that house. I don't have to be better than everybody else.
No, he screwed up because he didn't put an aerial yard up there. Now, what if he, with that deck, with a view of downtown St. Pete, wouldn't you want to go up there and have your marijuana timeout?
Yeah, I would. But you know what? I think that it's not because he couldn't afford it. I think it's because he didn't know. So, look at that. Hey, Mr. $12 million house, if you're watching today, you could have an aerial yard. You'd even know about it.
So instead of having a beautiful aerial yard with a little ADU type thing up on top with a kitchen, bathroom, and shower and all that stuff, he's got this little tiny deck that's looking over the houses here instead of that view of downtown.
Oh, wow. And then that's just a thing to know. Like, if you put an aerial yard, you know, on the intercoastal, you could potentially see over your neighbor's houses, you know?
And put your solar panels up there and put your yard up there with the green grass. And actually make it a living area where you could put your kids if they're, you know, want to get away, or if you wanted to rent your house out, it's got an elevator going up, and you and your wife, who are older, could live up there and rent out the whole house.
So you could rent out the roof area, you know, and that could be a...
Or rent out the main house and live in the roof area.
Yeah, or if you kick out your kids, they can go upstairs, live in that unit. Or if you're hefty like me and you don't want people to see you tanning, which I don't care, but you could go up there and tan and no one would see you, and you'll still have a view of the water. So
this 12-foot wide house, and you put two of them next to each other on that thing, and you strap it down, and now when the storm comes in and the tide comes up 8 feet, your house went up 8 feet.
wait, so if I get a boat house and it floods, it doesn't matter because it's a boat. Okay, well, there's a solution. You know, if you don't want to, if you know, a teardown house is not an option because it floods, you could always put your house on a boat and then it'll never flood.
Now you say, well, no one would allow that. This is City Hall, Madeira Beach, which is...
Oh, wow, look at that.
8 acres or 10 acres or whatever.
That's
fire department, golf things, dog parks, all sorts of stuff.
Not too shabby. There's a Winn-Dixie. I didn't even know these still existed over here. Wow. Look at that. It's like from the 80s. Does that look like it's from the 80s? That Winn-Dixie? All right, now we're headed over to our office. Oh, and there's the Cambria. Jim, why don't you tell me a little bit about that aerial yard and how they got it right and why you should put an aerial yard on your roof?
Well, because that's the main feature of the Cambria. Notice all the chairs and which way they're facing. There's a swimming pool behind all those chairs. Why would you face it this way? Because there's a bigger swimming pool right there that you're looking at. It's called the Gulf of Mexico.